On today's episode of MaxTV Magazine, it's all about the music scene. Come with us as we travel around this beautiful province, checking out the talented people in the music industry. Hey there! Hello and welcome to another edition of MaxTV Magazine. I'm your host, Brad Grass, and if you haven't guessed it by now, today's episode is all about music. All over this big, beautiful province. If you're a music lover, you're going to love it because, oh my goodness, so much talent in Saskatchewan. In fact, we start our first story with an up-and-coming country star by the name of Ray Whitten. In fact, he's just finished a brand new album. Tell you what, why don't you spend some time with him while I finish the song that I'm working on. There's a tear in my beer and I can't seem to hear.
Because you love me right off from my feet. I'll cherish your heart endlessly.
You know, I grew up in the 80s, so I was really into pop music, and then as I got a little older, in the 90s, I really dug country. I've always loved to sing, but you know, singing on its own was kind of okay, but I wanted to learn a new hobby. And so, you know, what else do you do at 30 years old but buy a guitar?
Ray has very generously decided that he's got some CDs for sale for $10, and he's going to donate half the money to the benefit concert tonight. And so, if you would like to get them, just see Ray later. I'm sure he will be more than pleased to autograph them for you.
Smelly cat. I'm just kidding, I'm joking. I couldn't do that. Here's a song I wrote with a friend of mine, Jay. I used to get super nervous before getting up on stage, and we sat down to write a song. He goes, "What do you want to write about?" So I have no idea. I get super scared at the idea of singing in front of people. And he says, "Well, let's sing a song about that." He says, "You don't have to sing to everybody. You just have to sing to one person." Who's the one person? Of course, it's my best friend and my wife. And she's not here. So I'm gonna pick a random gentleman in the crowd. There he is. It's not love in my eyes, I'm just trying to get through it, but this song is called Singing to You.
The first time I ever heard him sing, he really knocked me out, and I remember talking with Dave Taylor and Kim Fontaine, the other people we were up there, and afterwards they're going, "Who is that guy? Man, he's really good." I knew that he was going into the studio, and I remember he was talking with Randy Woods, who is a good friend of mine, you know, and ended up, and Randy was saying, "Oh, I might be doing a record with Ray Whitten." And I said, "Oh, that's great. What a great matching that would be," because I've worked with Randy on a few things.
I'm singing to James, who's not even looking at me.
Oh, and I was sort of busy, and I think Ray mentioned to me, he got in touch with me and said, "Well, you know, I'm thinking of recording a Pike song, Kiss Me You Fool, and if I do, you know, would you like to come and join me and sing on it?" And I said, "Sure." Then I kind of forgot about it along the way. And then got a call, and I think it was Ray, a combination of Ray and Randy around the same time. They just said, "Hey man, come on in, when are you gonna come in?" And I said, "Okay, well, what works for you?" And I think it was like, you know, in a couple of days or something like that. It was short notice, and I thought, great, let's go do it. So when I put on the headphones and sang along with it, it was great.
Gotta feel good inside, ain't felt like this in a while. It hasn't happened in some time, and I guess that's it for the ride. Me, I've been in love and I am, and there's so much to understand.
Love You Off Your Feet actually came from a song I wrote for my girlfriend at the time. We had been going through some struggles, and I'd never written a song before. I wasn't eating or sleeping, so I sat down at a table with a pen and a piece of paper, and I just kind of poured my heart out. And you know, it took me about 48 hours, and I remember calling my girlfriend and now my wife at that time, and
I think I played it to her over the computer, over the phone or something, and then there was like just this dead silence. So I knew I was kind of onto something there.
You felt hurt, you've seen pain. And if I could, I'd take it all away. But I promise you.
The SCMA week was great. I got to perform on a larger scale than maybe what I'm used to. I got to present an award to somebody very deserving in the country music world, and I topped it off with an award for myself. So all in all, it was busy, but just a kind of surreal experience for me.
And the 2016 Roots Album of the Year is...
Ray Whitten.
First off, Randy Woods, my producer, engineer, therapist, psychologist. This guy believed in what I was doing and believed in me, and I'm forever grateful.
Listening to other artists at the songwriting circle was great. You know, oftentimes as a songwriter, you get it kind of in your own head, and to hear somebody else's, you know, creative process or what they've come up with and the stories behind the songs, for me, that's just inspirational.
Ray's a guy who's been working at it for a long time, and I've seen him develop, and he had a lot of God-given talent from square one. And Ray is the most humble guy in the world, and he's damn well worked for everything he's done in music. And I kind of go, it's just so gratifying for me to see him achieving the success he's achieving.
I'm just so thankful for the support and the love that I've gotten from family members, friends, my beautiful wife, you know, folks like yourself who've, you know, reached out to me and wanted to learn a little bit more, and it's just been a wonderful experience.
Love this happy ending.
Dave, everybody. Thank you.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, almost got it. I was tuning my ukulele. Thank goodness there's an app for that. You know, one part of making music is making the music sound great. And there's a whole art form to that, to getting the right tune, to perfecting the sound, especially if it's for the television industry, which takes us to our next story. We meet up with a music producer who makes music specifically for the movie and television industry. Check it out.
Well, I got into music basically because my mother used to beat me all the time and into practicing piano, but I realized that if I could play pop music, I might actually meet chicks, you know? So I got into playing rock music as well, and but then it was fun, and I realized that I could probably, you know, make a career out of it, and so I've tried to do that. Back in like the 80s, I mean, recording was quite complicated as far as, like, you know, going to a recording studio. I mean, there was not the kind of, you know, computer systems that we have now, where it's, I mean, everybody can actually almost have a recording studio. So you had to, you know, save up money and then go and record like 2 or 3 songs in a studio and kind of, you know, like, you know, see how that works. But eventually, you know, like I kept playing music, and you know, you keep sort of progressing, and you play with a better band and then a better band, and then you get called. Like I got called to play with the Pikes, and so I went on the road with them, and then I ended up, you know, recording in the studio with them. So all of a sudden I'm going from, you know, these tiny little studios in Saskatoon to you know, like A&M Studios in Los Angeles, where we were recording, and it was like massive, you know. When the Pikes broke up for the first time in '93, I had an opportunity to start working on some TV shows, and so I jumped at that, and that's kind of how I just kind of like fluked it off and kind of got into doing TV music. And so eventually after every job I would save up a little bit of money and then buy another piece of gear, and then eventually, you know, after like, you know, 10 years of that, it's like, oh, hey, I've got like a studio now. So if I'm working on it, if I'm writing music for a TV show, I sit down with the producers and we decide if they've hired me. Like a lot of times you have to like demo to get a job. So, you know, you might get asked by a producer, you know, can you write a piece of music for our show? We want to see, you know, if you're the right guy for the job. So you talk to them and you try and get inside their head what they might want. And then you write a piece of music, and, you know, maybe for like a 2-minute scene or something like that. And you send that to the producers, and, you know, and the director's usually involved too. And they go, yeah, this is great. Yeah, you know, let's get them to do it, you know.
Leave Rob at fall, or their lives will rest on your soul.
The music sort of plays a huge role in messing with the viewer's mind and emotions, you know. And if you take the music out in a scene, it might actually be better than having it in. I've already played this part. I think it's pretty cool. There's this like competitive kind of thing just naturally as a musician, because you're wanting to like get better at something. So you improve as a musician, and then that sort of transfers to engineering and producing, or composing. So you always sort of want to do something a bit better than you did last time. Egos can get out of control sometimes. Probably having a sense of humor is important. This is a Juno the Sheepdogs gave me because I recorded their single of the year, I Don't Know. That's the name of the song, I Don't Know. But the good thing about this is, like, when I get down in the morning, I can do this and just do a quick little workout. You know, this thing's quite heavy, actually. It's cool. I guess maybe after doing it for a lot, you know, like, you kind of just know what to do sometimes. It's kind of like, you know, when you're cutting the lawn, I mean, you know, you just kind of check the oil and you got gas and you prime it 3 times and then you pull the cord and then you start cutting, right? But, you know, I've done that for, you know, like 40 years.
Man, technology is so much fun. If you love music, there's all kinds of gadgets that you can play with. Instantly become a DJ. Not a good DJ, but a DJ nonetheless, which does bring us actually to our next story. It's an award-winning DJ up in Saskatoon who has a real passion for spinning. Wika wika! Wika 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 wika!
Music got me into spinning, just listening to music and then enjoying music my parents would play, taking their records, and then at some point deciding I'd like to share this with people. I think it was 2002. I met a guy that worked at a skate shop named The Gaff, and he was a very awesome DJ. And he knew I had that interest, and one day he's like, I know you're looking for tables. I have this guy who's selling a table and a mixer. If you want it, I'll hook it up. And so I bought that. Gaff lent me another turntable, and that's how I started off. The difficult part about moving from analog to digital, so vinyl to Serato, the computer program, was first off the feel, just how it felt. It didn't move exactly how you maybe wanted it to. It's improved significantly since the first time I tried it. So the response time feels like it's, you know, just like vinyl, really. A lot of people I've looked up to, like someone like Jazzy Jeff from, you know, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. I've been listening to his stuff since I was in elementary school and absolutely loved him and knew that he was one of the best DJs in the world. And now, because of going to Tokyo, because of this three-style competition, I've got to meet him a couple times. I've got to, you know, have meals with him and talk to him and pick his brain a little bit about DJing. I first tried out for three-style in like 2008, and I was terrible. Finally, this last year, I applied myself to practicing my butt off, you know, hours and hours a day to improve what I thought were my deficiencies. And I, you know, by a slim margin, I got to be crowned the champion of Canada, which is a huge goal crossed off the list, and it feels great. This past year, because I won the Red Bull Freestyle in Canada, I got to go to Tokyo, which means that was my first international experience in terms of DJing. So the first time I ever played outside of Canada is in Tokyo, which is crazy to me. It's the biggest city in the world by a large margin. I definitely am not afraid to play almost any genre in many situations. I've never only liked rap or only liked funk or only liked rock. I love being able to play in different situations. Pretty much any situation I'm put in, I hope to have the ability to make it the best possible. I almost compare it to like chess. You have to like plan some moves out, but you can't just have one strategy. You have to, it's a give and take. So the audience might not be like what you're playing. You might love it, but they might not like it. So you have to give them some of what they're feeling, what they're excited about, and still make it work within something you're excited about. I love to perform. I love being in front of people. So it's just natural to get that rush of like sharing something you love and having some sort of feedback with an audience or with a dance floor. Essentially, DJing is blending music together, whether it's quick cuts or slow cuts. It's just putting music together so it's artistic and tasteful. Something I would love to say to people that maybe are interested in DJing is just love music. If you love music, you've got to step up on a lot of DJs in the world, because DJing is basically just sharing music with people, and I think that's the most important part of DJing.
Oh, who am I kidding? It's my daughter. It's my daughter playing the ukulele. But I'll get there one day. But do keep in mind, next time you're going by your favorite pub or a coffee shop and you see a local band, stop by and support that great Saskatchewan music scene. Until next time, I'm Brad Grass with MaxTV Magazine.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on MaxTV Local On Demand, write us at max.local@sasktel.com.